Hello, everybody. I hope you're doing well out there today. I'm in Kosovo, and look at the resolution of YouTube. Doesn't it look awful? I have a feeling that's just a thing. How better to cut down on the amount of bandwidth that we use for YouTube than to come up with lousy resolution. So anyhow, that's what's going on. But I wanted to talk to you today about the National Comedy Center because I think it's a really good case study for us to look at for the way that technology is used in kind of an interesting and useful way. So, so what we're going to talk about, but what we're interested in from a class perspective is how do we do this for a business? How do we make this technology useful to create things that people want to do? Well, we're going to look at the National Comedy Center, but as you can see, what the National Comedy Center really is it's a building where people go and they watch videos. Well, I mean, you could do those videos of comedy, or you could do them of opera, or you could do them of off-road racing. You could use basically the same technology to create a space for lots of different kinds of places. And so that's why I kind of think this is interesting and useful for us to study. So what I want you to get out of this is, how does this place work? How do they build such a nice building? And those are video screens on the outside, by the way. And how do they fund themselves? How do they make enough money using just a bunch of videos that are probably mostly on YouTube uh, to create a space where people are willing to pay to come to have a nice time watching comedy that is pertinent to them, not just generic comedy that anybody might like, but their kind of comedy. So that's what we're going to be looking at. The reason why the Comedy Center is interesting is that they use their technology to personalize people's attendance at this building, which is all it is other than that. So let's just take a look at it. Now, I'm sure you noticed that this video has 161 views. Not extremely popular. Can't say it's gone viral yet. But I tell you what, this guy, even though he moves kind of slow and is kind of like your hokey grandfather, he does a really nice job showing the things that I want you to see here. So let's look at it and we'll see how I'll stop it when we get to interesting parts.
In Jamestown, New
You
York.
can watch the real video.
At the Comedy Center, you will
Watch it in much better definition and everything. So here's our kiosk. So what you do is you walk into the National Comedy Center, you pay at the cashiers, and they give you what he's going to call a laugh band. But what you and I know is an RFID band, and then you go to this kiosk and you select your favorite programs or your favorite comedians.
build your profile of what you think is funny. This comedy profile is encoded on a laugh band that you wear on your wrist.
Is it encoded on your RFID band? No, it's not. But how do they use that? You've got this band, just like my wristwatch here, that has a code on it. And so what the system really does is that they have sensors that detect the code that's on your RFID band. That connects you to a database that contains the information that you've already supplied to it, like what are your favorite programs, or who are your favorite comedians? And then that RFID band and you're using the code on it takes you through the entire museum so that they can keep track of things that you liked and things that you didn't like. Well, and activities that you did, I should say.
When entering areas of the Comedy Center, you can scan the laugh band, and the comedy around you will be personalized to your sense of humor.
So now your profile is complete. And when they back out a little bit, you'll see some of the things that they do with this profile. Along with, and notice down here, he's got his picture on here. So they took a picture of him while he was at this kiosk. They're going to take those pictures and they're going to have a big board up top that says, "Who's here today?" and flash pictures of patrons as they come in. Now, you can't see it here, but you can add your own name to your profile too. But rather than use the name that you use with your credit card to pay to get in, you can come up with a silly name if you want. It's the Comedy Center after all. And you don't have to use your real name.
Center, and she's walking away from me again. Here we are at the National
And other people
Comedy Center with family and friends, building our profile.
that.
Did you guys get headphones? Yeah. Okay.
I can't read all this.
And you thought you were done taking tests in school.
Yeah, no kidding.
Right here, that's his laugh band, his RFID tag. Here is the sensor that picks up the code off of the RFID band. You can see other kiosks around and about so that they can handle multiple people at any.
Sorry. Coming right in.
Yes. Here's the collector.
Do you remember George Carlin's Hippy Dippy Man? I do. When you enter the comedy club, everyone scans their laugh band.
Profile pictures too, by the way. And this one, I don't know, is that a person? If you don't, that's one that's not a person. If you don't want to use your real person, your real picture for whatever reason, who cares, right? So they provide a bunch of icons that you can use if you don't want to use your real person. Now, this is the stand-up lounge, and we're going to talk about the stand-up lounge in class because it's really interesting. Here we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people, maybe even 6, at the stand-up lounge at the same time. And what they want to do is they want to find the comedy videos that are appropriate for showing in the open space, because this is part of the open part of the National Comedy Center, and fit as close as possible to a common theme across all the people that happen to be there. And so this is where we need an algorithm. We need to be able to find a way to select something that's appropriate for the, either largest number of people or a common theme across all of them. What if there is no common theme or comedian across all of them? Then it comes down to how do we select which one to show to please as many people as possible. This is going to be part of your assignment, is thinking about that algorithm. Now, on the other side here, this is Jerry Seinfeld's poofy shirt. I don't know if you like Friends, but they're not Friends, the Jerry Seinfeld show, but it's in there. So if you're into collectibles, that's a big one.
Then they attempt to show comedians that match the profiles of everyone in the room.
I'm your MC today. It's an intimate crowd, and I'm big on intimate. Let's start the show. First, we'll kick off with some outstanding comedy based on everyone's sense of humor. To do that, let's find the type of
What you're noticing here is that these are the genres, and we're going to talk about genres that need to be associated with videos. And here you can see some of the genres that they use with some of their videos: smart comedy, surprising comedy, all those different things.
humor you have in common. We got a match for high energy.
So the common match for, looks like 3 out of 5, was high energy comedians. What about the other 2 people? Well, they probably didn't choose high energy comedians, but this is what the algorithm that's in place at the National Comedy Center selected, given the preferences of all the people who happen to be at the stand-up comedy lounge at the same time.
This next performer is going to count fast, so get ready. Let's welcome George Carlin.
It is politically, anatomically, and ecologically incorrect. I've been uplinked and downloaded, I've been inputted and outsourced. I know the upside of downsizing, I know the downside of upgrading. I'm a high-tech, low.
Let's jump. Here I come.
The stand-up comedy, stand-up lounge. Now we're going to look at some other kinds of exhibits that they have here. What I want you to think about from these, what we're seeing here is, where are the artifacts that are generated uniquely by this person who's visiting the National Comedy Center? Because this is a fundraising kind of place, and one of the things that they would like to do is to use artifacts that you created during your stay at the National Comedy Center to email to you to remind you of how much fun you had there, so that it might encourage you to send in a check and or come back and visit again. But look at the displays here and think about, how do we generate an artifact that we can store unique to this individual from the exhibits that they're walking by?
There are many interactive displays, like this prop table. The anvil prop. Very cool. These prop tables, you pick up a prop from over there, and you place it on the
Pretty cool.
table, and it shows you where the prop was used and shows clips. I'm not even sure what this is. I'll put that down here. Oh, the wooden plank.
So, are you planning on using a doubled up 2x8?
No, I'm not, Bob. I'm thinking about using that beefy boy over there, a 4x8 big piece of American Doug fir.
Okay. And folks, it's a good idea to use your framing square at this point in the job, because you want to make sure this header goes in there nice and level. Excellent point, Mr. Vila. Yeah, there's nothing worse than trying to hang a door in an opening that isn't true. How true?
Slapstick humor here.
Ooh, how true.
Al, I was going to get to that.
Ever want to try stand-up? Well, there's a place for that. I attempted the deadpan
Here's another one. Now, this is where he's
humor of Stephen Wright.
It was my birthday recently, and for my birthday, I got a humidifier
And the idea is
and dehumidifier. I put them in the same room and let them fight it out.
Fast forward a little bit, because it's really pretty bad. But not saying I'd be any better, but
I said, I'll remember you.
He's trying to do deadpan humor, boy. He's doing deadpan humor. One little good example fact that can be created and used in fundraising. He's taking this Charlie Brown outline and he's just, tracing it with his finger to create his own drawing of Charlie Brown. Well, that could be saved as a PDF, and then we could send that back to him and say, remember how much fun you had creating this artifact, and come back and see us again sometime.
Ever want to be a cartoonist? Well, the National Comedy Center has all the best. You can try to match the talent. Give Charlie Brown a try, and then look at the real thing.
Collectibles here.
There are lots of interactive exhibits, including video, music, and special effects.
There we go. There we go.
Notice the tap here. That's for her RFID tag. So what we're doing here is when she taps her RFID tag to this sensor, it's associating this video and this silly game. I don't even know what she's doing. Silly game with her as an individual, and we're going to use that later on in the application that they develop that show you right before you leave.
Butter jelly, peanut butter jelly, peanut butter jelly. Peanut butter jelly time.
There is a special floor for the blue.
All right, the blue room. Now, this is an important one for us also because kids aren't allowed in here. Now, like I said in class, dirty jokes have been around since the Romans and, probably forever. But, if you wanted to build a National Comedy Center where you wanted families to come and having an open area where all the comedy that people see in this open area is appropriate for, mixed audience, whatever, all ages, whatever you want to describe it. You don't want your kids walking by somebody swearing away like a sailor or like a comedian. And so what they've done is that instead of saying we're just going to have nice humor at the National Comedy Center, what they've done is they've isolated that kind of humor to this blue room where you have to be 18 to enter the blue room. Well, what that means is that as part of our database, we have to either collect birth date, right? And then we can calculate age, or we have to collect a binary that says 18 or not 18. And then we can update that every time the user comes back to the National Comedy Center. So anyhow, and if you don't like this kind of stuff, I'm sorry, but we're just going to have a little bit of it. No, nothing awful or anything, just words.
Blue room. And when we came up the elevator malfunctioned and went up and down and fluctuated, and not sure if that was by design or not.
The blue room is on the second floor. There are no sensors up here. You'll need to visit if you want to hear and see more.
And of course, who would be first but George?
The National Comedy Center.
If you want to ask your parents about that one, that was George Carlin's 7 dirty words that weren't allowed to be said on TV at the time. We had censors back then that would actively censor words and costumes and stuff.
has two buildings. One is dedicated to Lucille Ball.
To do your version of the famous comedy scene. This is Lucille Ball, and she's working in a chocolate factory, and she's supposed to be putting the chocolates into their little wrappers. But the conveyor belt goes too fast, and now she has to figure out what to do. It is kind of funny. It's kind of slapstick, but anyhow.
You can try some of her famous scenes. This one's from the candy factory.
Trying to do their version of it. Here's another.
Hello, friends. I'm your, how do you say?
Vitamita Vegemin.
Hello, friends. I'm your Vitamita Vegemin girl. Are you tired, run down, listless? Do you poop out at parties? Are you unpopular? The answer to all your problems is in this little bottle. Vitamita Vegemin. Yes, Vitamin Vegemin contains meat, vitamins, vegetables, and minerals. Yes, with Vitamita Vegemin, you can spoon your way to health. All you do is take a great big tablespoon after every meal. So today.
Oh, I see what you're saying now.
All right, so.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Okay, so here's the final exhibit before you leave the National Comedy Center. And the thing to notice about it is that at this final exhibit, they draw into they bring all kinds of the artifacts that you created in your earlier going through the different exhibits, and they do something with this. And they've got an algorithm that just does something with it, and does something like analyze your comedy preferences, or something goofy like that. And that whatever. But that's what they do. But the neat thing for us is that we can see how these old artifacts that were created throughout the person's tour through the facility are reused. So we know that they saved them, and they maintain this data and use it later on. It's pretty good.
Before you leave, tap your laugh band and you'll see some of the scenes from your day and an analysis of your sense of humor.
I think the types of comedy, it gets back to that genres again. And we can see that how they have classified all the different videos that they have, I assume, into these different genres. Well, we need to do that too. A few definitions also.
All right, we just left the Lucille Ball Museum.
Okay, that was all I need from that. And go back to Zoom. All right, hope we're doing okay there. If you'll notice my hat back there, you'll notice that we can see how the National Comedy Center works, and we can see the business behind the National Comedy Center and the way that it's utilized to create memories